Shalom, this is Rabbi Roger, and welcome to Branch of Israel. You just heard Jenna Lewinski blowing a shofar from one of her Jacob's sheep. A what? Yes, you heard right, a Jacob's sheep, and I want you to listen to this fascinating and funny story of how Jenna came into the sheep and then decided to somehow bring them to Israel. So Jenna is currently located in the country of Georgia, and her sheep are in Israel, located in Samaria at a petting zoo. They're really cute and appear to be very relational, but Jenna, you were not raised with them all your life. In fact, were you even raised on a farm?
I was not raised on a farm. I was born in South Africa. I grew up in a normal, average family, a wonderful family. And I was never a farmer as well. I didn't grow up on a farm. It was sort of like there's no accidents in life, there's no coincidences. But I think it was like a calling that God put on my heart to do, to do the Jacob sheep. But this came later in life. When I was younger, I had no idea that I would be part of the journey of the Jacob sheep. I actually didn't even know about Jacob sheep. And so it was something that actually sort of came unexpectedly into my life as a newlywed couple. We learned about the Jacob sheep, but
But you were still living in
it's
South Africa at the time.
yes, this happened only in Canada. So in
So
when I was living in
what forced you to move to Canada? I think you had a situation, that's something that forced you to leave the country?
yes, so I just finished. I spent a year working at the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I'd met my then um, ex-husband Gil, who works at the Jerusalem Post, and both our contract ended in Israel, and we needed to go to South Africa to get married in my home community, in my synagogue, my shul. And we were very excited because I was actually going to work for the Zulu king at the time, King Goodwill Zwelithini, who's unfortunately passed away.
Sounds like a very fancy title.
Yeah, he's the actual Zulu king of South Africa at that time, but he's passed away. His son is now the king. And so I was going to work for the royal household and to do their public relations and like marketing and etc. And so it was very exciting for us to embark on this new chapter. And we came home on El Al. And the night before, I was supposed to go and meet the king to discuss the work contract and the scope of the work. Early that evening, around just before bedtime, around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, there was some noises outside in the garden. And I had two golden retrievers, Caliph and Malachi, and they were barking outside, and it was very unusual because there was not really anything that should have alerted them. And I opened the curtain to peek, and the light inside the room was on, but outside was dark. But when I opened the curtain, I looked straight into a black male's face, and he had like a AK-47 gun basically. And there was two other characters with him, two or three, but in the shock of looking straight into the criminal's eyes, I vaguely just remember two or three people. I can't say exactly because I basically closed the curtain as fast as I opened it. And I ran to the bedroom to inform we were newly married, maybe like 4 days married or something at this point. So I ran to my newly married husband, Gil, and I told him, we're in a really lot of trouble. There's gunmen outside, maybe more guns, definitely more than one criminal, and they are about to enter and kill us. So I picked up the landline that was newly installed in the house, and I tried to call the police. And the police basically, they couldn't get the address. The street was called Greenwood. And I kept saying green, the color green, and they don't get it. And I say wood, like a forest, but they just couldn't understand the address. And then I also asked them to please hurry. When I thought they finally got the address, they told me, well, we have all our police vehicles broken down. The one has 4 flat tires that they haven't fixed yet, and the other one has no gas to come out. So basically, they said, our hands are tied. You're on your own. And when I heard this, I started to hear the back door. They were starting to trying to open the back door of the the little granny flat, the garden flat that we were renting. And so I ran to press the panic button of the this little garden flat, but they jammed the system. So when I pressed the panic button, it's like the alarm is completely switched or cut or something, and no signals were going out. So I dialed the alarm company from the cell phone, and they asked for a secret code, like an emergency secret code to verify that as their client that you're an emergency. But I never asked the landlord. I never thought of it when I signed the lease. So I didn't know what this code was. So I tried all sorts of the landlord's name, surname. I tried a lot of things, but it wasn't going anywhere. And basically they put down the phone on the other side. So I decided we're on our own, literally. So I called my father that lived a half an hour away, and he said, okay, he will jump in his car and he's on his way. So he had like a gun, he was a licensed gun holder, and he grabbed his trailer to hook on the car because he thought in South Africa, if such a situation occurs, he can't continue to live there because they keep coming back. So he thought to move us to him, but he had a half an hour still to drive and get to us. So I understood we have half an hour, and if we don't survive this half an hour, it's going to be really bad. Ex-husband Gil was from Canada. He was born in Israel, but he left to Canada when he's 4 with his parents, and he had a music degree. So he came with his musical instrument, his keyboard, like piano, the electric one, and he knew it can make sounds like when you do certain settings and you press the notes, it can make like gunshots and police sirens. So he was standing and trying to make the keyboard sound like police vehicles and gunshots and everything. And I told him, well, this is Africa. This is not for sissies. This isn't going to do nothing to these people outside. They may just kill us without mercy, really. So I told him we need to start locking the bedroom door. And then the bedroom had a bathroom inside. And we locked the bathroom door. So it's like 2 extra layers to get to us. At this point, unbeknown to us, they already took off the safety gate. Now they just had to come through the door. As we locked the bathroom door and we sat on the floor, I said, well, let's send some messages to our parents. So my mother was in Australia. So it was not the right hour of day. Like she was sleeping. She didn't receive my messages. But his parents in Canada did. And they wrote back, interesting. What an adventure. They didn't understand even the danger that we're facing. They just thought it's a funny story to tell one day to your kids. So at this point, we also prayed. We prayed for protection. We said Psalm 91. We had a prayer book from Israel in the bathroom we were praying, even though it's not really customary to pray in the bathroom. This was an emergency. And suddenly my cell phone rang, and they said, you need to come outside and put your hands in the air, because they were scared of our dogs barking outside. The dogs were still alive, luckily, but they were hit with chains because the one had a leg injury that the next day the vet had to fix. But they were still living and barking and very aggressive for golden retrievers. They were very worked up. And whoever was out of the gate didn't want to enter without us going out. But the problem was we don't have any idea where's the criminals. We don't know who's the people at the gate that want to enter. It was very much confusion. And I was actually struck with fear. So I guess Gil, being from Canada and maybe a layer of ignorance to the dangers in Africa, he agreed to, maybe also as the man of the house, he agreed to go out and try to save us. So he went out, possibly with the criminals behind him and the help that we're receiving from the front. And he opened the gate and called the dogs. The dogs came racing into the home. And I noticed the security gate was completely off, lying on the floor, already removed. And it was just the layer of the door that needed to go through. So next minute, these 5 people came running in, and they had a bulletproof vest. And it said SWAT, like SWAT on the front in yellow. And on the back, SWAT as well. And they were perfectly manicured. They looked like people, like a movie in Hollywood with makeup on and everything, but not literally makeup, but they look so perfect. It's like they wore makeup, if you know what I mean. Like it looked like they went to have facials for weeks and weeks because their faces were perfect. Their hair was glowing. They looked amazing. And I said, I don't think this can be the South African police, because they sometimes come like schleppers. you know, they're not,
Were
always
they
best dressed.
angels?
And
Were they angels?
so we didn't think of it very much, but they didn't talk to us. Normally, if it's the police, they're going to take a statement. They're going to ask, where's the criminals? But they made like one run around the house. And as fast as they came, they disappeared. Like we didn't. And then 2 minutes later, my father showed up at the gate and he started to load all our suitcases and all our stuff on the trailer. We just locked the door and we left because now it wasn't safe to be there anymore. So we took even the golden retrievers with us. The one had like a limping on the leg, which was hit with a chain or stick or something. And the next morning we came back to the house and the door was still locked the way we left it. And we were grateful they didn't that same night come back and clear everything when we went there. But I found it very strange because we said, let's go to the police station to thank them for the SWAT team, because this could be the only people that would have a SWAT team. So we go to the police station. They say they never received our call the night before. They deny that we spoke even on the phone. And I said, but there was this people. They said, we don't have a SWAT team in this area. It doesn't exist. And so they refused to take. Then they wanted us to make a statement if we're not so sure that we saw them. And we didn't make a statement because we said, well, if it's the police and they don't even know that we're there, they didn't receive our call, who was it? And so that is when we looked at each other and we both start to agree. We start to put all the stories together. Like, these people never spoke to us. We didn't hear these angels say, like, at this point it occurred to us it was angels. They didn't talk to us. That's already something. They didn't ask us, are we okay even? They didn't ask, what did we see? What did we hear? Then we confirmed it when we talked to the neighbor across the street that was watching everything out of a window. And she claims that she was watching and then these 5 men showed up, no vehicle, nothing, and they were standing at the gate. She never saw them leaving out of the gate. But she didn't think much of it either because it's only when we mentioned that you see the SWAT team, we thought they must have come in vehicles or something. We looked on the cameras, there was no vehicles that came. They didn't come in vehicles. They somehow appeared on foot. So everything started to, we started to think there's like a lot of holes in what happened here. It's not, so we started to add up that it wasn't something like a natural phenomena because at all accounts, it didn't make sense. These people that look perfect, they don't speak to you. And after that, the criminals also never saw them or heard from them again.
So it sounds very supernatural.
At this point, there was a strong desire of Gil not to move to Canada at all because he started to love Africa, South Africa. He loved the food, he loved the atmosphere, the weather. And so he was very excited also that I'll be working with the Zulu king. And I had a lot of friends in the Jewish community and Christian community in South Africa from work I did before I went to Israel, like pro-Israel advocacy and work. And he just wasn't in the mood to move to Canada in the cold, and he wanted a new adventure.
Unfortunately, we're out of time for right now. Eventually they get to Canada, but was it because of this incident that forced them to leave? Did God really want them to move, and that is why he supernaturally protected them that night? The story unfolds, but you will have to listen to the next part to see how it turns out. In the description field, I will post a link to Jenna's website, migdaleder.com, so you may read all of her stories and adventures. As I told her before, there is so much information that a book would be the only way she could capture all of it. This story is good enough to be made into a movie, but I really feel that 2 hours would not do it justice, nor would a short interview. But either way, it makes for a good read, so check out her website. In the meantime, be sure and visit us at our website, branchofisrael.com, to listen to our other broadcast. And if you want to learn how to say the Hebraic prayers, then purchase my book, Hebraic Prayers from the Vine, and learn with a native Israeli and hear how to say them like a real pro. You may get this and more at our website, so feel free to visit us today. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and lehitrot, goodbye, or see you again.